If I was told that I could only train Sunday school teachers in one area, I would probably choose this. Teach one thing. The goal of the teacher is that students learn. And the goal of a Sunday school teacher, what you want is your students to learn and apply biblical truth. And one of the best ways I know of reaching that goal is to focus your teaching to one biblical truth. So when preparing your Sunday school lesson, it can be very tempting, I know, I've tried this myself, to cram as much as possible into the time that you have. After all, you want the kids to learn everything. The problem is the kids will end up leaving your class discouraged and overwhelmed. And when asked, what did you learn in Sunday school today, they won't be able to give a good answer. So how do you solve that problem? Teach one thing. When you're looking at the lesson, when you're preparing it during the week, you need to decide what's the point. The Bible is rich in truth, and the lessons in our curriculum are rich in content. We can't possibly teach everything we want in the time that we have. And if we overwhelm the kids with information, we will lose them. But we can engage and keep the interest of the kids that we teach if we teach one thing. Finding the one central truth in the lesson helps to bring focus to your lesson. So here's how you decide what one thing to focus on. First, pray. When you're preparing during the week, ask God to show you the one truth He wants you to focus on. Prayer should be a huge part of your lesson preparation. Ask God to show you that one central truth He wants you to teach. And then ask God to grip your heart with that truth. Once you've wrestled through it, you're prepared to teach it to the kids in your class. So pray, pray, pray. Next, read through the lesson and read everything. Read all the suggested scripture, the entire lesson, the application, any additional material you have. Read through all of it because you never know where you're going to find that one central truth come out in the lesson. And then look at the themes. Most curriculums, if not all, will provide a theme at the beginning of the lesson. Now, curriculums will call these any number of things. Key themes, aims, objectives, goals, whatever it is they call them, you need to take a look at those because you might just take your one thing directly from the theme that's listed, or you may use what's listed as a basis to create your one thing. And then consider the needs of your students. You know your students better than the curriculum publishers, for sure. So keep them in mind when you're choosing your central theme. You know their personalities, you know their needs, you know what they're currently going through, what's going on right now. So keep your students in mind when you're choosing your one central truth. All right, so once you've done all that, you're ready to decide on your one central truth and to teach it. So, once you've prayed and read through everything, you have to decide what that one thing is you want to teach in this lesson. Now, don't worry about getting it wrong. Different teachers will choose different themes, and you may even choose a different theme the next time you teach that same lesson. And again, that's because the Bible is so rich in content and truth. The Bible has so much to teach us, so choose one thing for this particular lesson. Once you've decided that primary truth you want to teach, write it in a single sentence. If you can't say it in one single sentence, then you haven't worked it out specifically enough. And especially for younger children, it should be a short sentence, not one with lots of commas. So write it out in a single sentence. Then spend some quiet moments reflecting on that main point. Ask God to make that truth real for you. When truth has changed your life, then you're ready to teach it to the children in your class. So write it out as a single sentence. Then Go back through your lesson. This is the time to be ruthless and get rid of everything in the lesson that isn't about your central truth that you've decided to teach on. Now, it may be true, it may be biblical and God-centered, and it might be something you want the kids to learn. But if it isn't about that one central truth, then it shouldn't be in this particular lesson. So don't feel bad about taking it out. You want to focus in and make sure kids learn that one central truth really well. So be ruthless and take out anything in the lesson that's unrelated. And that includes application time activities and any other activities. If they're not focused on that one truth, take them out. And if you need to, add an activity that is related to that central truth. So remember, write it as a single sentence. Take out anything in the lesson unrelated. And then go back through the lesson and insert that main point throughout the lesson. Your one thing should be repeated often when you teach the lesson, but it won't necessarily happen unless you put it in there. I've done this before. I've had it in my mind. I want to remember to say this to the kids. You get going in your lesson. By the end of the morning, you realize, oh, I forgot to say that. So put it in there so you won't forget. Repeat the one central truth often throughout your lesson. During the Bible story, during application, during activities, reinforce that one central truth. For younger kids, say the same thing every time. Repetition is really important for our youngest kids, so say it the same way every time. For older kids, you want to find different ways of stating the truth. If you find slightly different ways of stating that one particular point over and over again, it gives them a chance to mull it over and understand it better. So, and then show them where that truth is found in the Bible. You don't want kids thinking that you're coming to class every week with this new great thing that you just thought of. Show them where you've found it, where it's in the Bible. So remember, teach one thing. When you focus your lesson on one central theme, your kids will be able to follow you, they will remain focused, and they'll walk away having learned that one central truth really well. Teaching one thing keeps you on track as a teacher, and it helps you weed out information that doesn't pertain to your one theme. Therefore, keeping the lesson from becoming too long. That's always a problem as well. You end up teaching far too long for the attention span of your students. So by focusing in on one central truth, it keeps your lesson from becoming too long. As you look at your morning and evaluate the lesson and the activities, evaluate based on that one central truth. Think, how did we do in this class? Can the kids, when they walk out of here, can they say what that one central truth is? When they walk away, they should walk away with that one central truth. One of the most important skills a Sunday school teacher can master is to teach one thing. It sounds easy, but it's actually not as easy to do in real life. So, what needs to happen, it needs to become a habit. So do whatever you need to do. Write a Post-it note and put it on your lesson material to remind yourself, teach one thing. Or use a highlighter or a bright marker and write it right across the top of your material. Teach one thing over and over until you have it ingrained and it's part of how you prepare as a habit for your lesson.